When you've already got a lot on your plate, is there value in taking on more? Or will you just become overwhelmed, frustrated, and stuck trying to figure out how to do it all? We'll discuss taking on more, the benefits, and more on this episode of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
You had a lot going on there in that 47 seconds, Tom. Wow.
I just blow my nose. That's all I got.
It was funny because the last 5 seconds you were really accelerating.
I knew I had to be ready to go. You know, I only had a couple of seconds once you went da-da-da-da to
it's go time.
Be prepared.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing this morning?
No complaints. I got up early and ran. So I got that endorphin thing going right now.
Is that you're getting back in that habit?
I am. Every other day. Yes. I'm trying to get back to routine. I've learned my lesson. Routine is the key. So I've got a sequence in the morning that gets me to a place and this is part of it. Just that routine is what gets me grounded to go through the day.
What happens when you want to take on more and you have to modify your routine?
Well, it's funny you say that because every now and then there's a meeting that messes me up and I have to alter that routine. Sometimes I get up earlier, which, right now 5 o'clock is wake up time, but I've been known to get up at 4:15, 4:30 if need be. I'm a morning person, so that's not the end of the world. Other times I'll go through my day and do the exercise in the evening or the other stuff I do, journaling, meditation, all those things. So figure it out. It's a day-to-day thing, right?
So then is it really a routine?
It's a routine most days, except for the days when it isn't a routine. Like if, Friday I'm playing golf in the morning, late morning. So it shouldn't affect our stuff, but that'll throw the routine because I should run Friday. But if I run Friday and then go play golf will not be good. It'll be bad enough already. So,
okay, fair enough. Just
wait, lot TMI about me, really.
Well, I think that's, it's a little bit about our topic and it's a little bit about, just understanding how sometimes things that we plan, we can't always do because we end up taking on more. Anyhow, we'll get to that a little bit later.
And you have a routine in the morning?
Certainly. Depending on when I get up. Varies my routine.
There you go.
All right, everyone. Welcome to today's Antidote. If you weren't sure where you were or why you were here, now you at least know this is our daily broadcast and podcast where we have a conversation around a topic. As I mentioned, this week's topic is taking on more. And we focus in on one piece of that today. It'll be the benefits of taking on more. And as we go through that conversation, if you have thoughts and ideas that you would like to share, please feel free to put them in the comments of whatever social media you happen to be following us on, whether that is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, or
LinkedIn Live, baby.
LinkedIn Live, yes.
LinkedIn Live.
We welcome your thoughts and ideas as it'll add value to the show as we are discussing in our discussion. At the end of our conversation, we'll each offer our one thing, our today's antidote. That thing that we hope will help you when you're stuck, figure out how to take your next step along your own unique pathway to success. And of course, if you have a one thing to share, please feel free to do it because there might be somebody out there who is desperately seeking the one thing that you have to share. We all have value that is all different. And if we hold it in, someone might not get the value that they need. So please feel free to share your one thing at the end as well. And before we dive into our conversation, we always start our day with celebrations. Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I am celebrating the person who at 5:15 this morning, as I was running through a nice little street, was driving past me. So they were coming from behind me. I could hear the car coming. They got near me and yelled, "You rock, man." Scared me to death, but it was very inspirational. Once I picked myself out of the bush from the fear of it all, it was really quite a special moment.
You were able to actually celebrate it.
Yes. It was
Nice.
It was a hard morning this morning to get out and run. So I felt like that was the reward, was that person who shared something, and he yelled it like I do LinkedIn Live. So he was all in.
Nice.
So how about you?
So I'm celebrating. What am I celebrating this morning? I'm going to celebrate that we have a new coach at the gym. Unfortunately, we had 2 coaches who I really liked. And the gym that I go to is all class driven and led by a coach. And so having a coach that has good music and inspires you to keep going when you really want to say, why am I doing this, is really beneficial. And so yesterday they introduced a new coach for their first class that I was a part of, and I really enjoyed it. And I thought they did a really nice job. And so I'm celebrating that it wasn't like, oh boy, now I'm going to have to switch the times that I go to the gym and find a new coach, and that it'll be that I believe, based on a small sample size, will be beneficial to my daily workout, sort of daily workout.
Tom, I know the world is really anxious to know the answer to this. Could you give us 3 or 4 artists that you would say qualify as good music?
Oh, heavens. I don't know. My wife would say I couldn't come up with 3 or 4 artists, period.
Or songs. I'll let you off the hook if you tell me songs that you like to exercise to.
What's interesting is I think a lot of people pay attention to that, and I don't. Like I listen, and I can tell, like, if sometimes the music cuts out, and then that's like you just hear people pounding on the treadmills, and that's not helpful. I don't know, anything with an upbeat. It's got to have kind of like a driving beat to it that helps you get through the end of long pushes or.
Okay.
So.
All right. You're not giving me much.
I can listen to a lot of it. It could be country. It could be rap. It could be rock and roll. It could be top 40.
Okay.
It's more about the beat.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
There are a couple of songs, I just can't think of them right now, that especially if you're trying to get through an all-out sprint, or the end of a long, you're like, oh man, I've only got a minute to go, which just seems like forever sometimes on the treadmill or on a rower. And that song is like, I can clearly remember we were doing a mile run. So one of the benchmarks they do, which they do on a regular basis, is a mile run. And, when you're getting close to the end, you're like, oh, when will this ever end? And,
I know that feeling.
You get to like 800 meters or whatever. And you're like, I just can't keep going. And if the right song comes on, you're like, okay, I got this. It'll be fun.
Okay. All right. Hey, folks, if you've got a song that you go to when you're exercising that you put in your ear pods or your iPhone or your Droid device, whatever, we'd love to see it in the comments. So maybe we can jog Tom's memory. I do know that Tom is not one to know songs or artists very well. He's just one of those guys.
Not one of my skill sets.
Not one of your skill sets.
So what's yours? You were running this morning. Do you run to music?
I do not.
You don't?
I really like to take in the environment
and listen to people yelling at you like you rock.
Yeah. Well, and early in the morning when you're in a small town, there's no one up. So the sounds you hear are the birds. As I didn't realize I've just moved to this location. So as I'm running out, I'm running west. So as I run back, I'm running east, and the sun was coming up. So I like that. I enjoy that tranquil time. And usually I'm in my thoughts more than anything else for that 30, 45 minutes. So I try and when I did listen to music 2 times, I tripped because I got wrapped up in the music. Now, if I'm on a treadmill, I will listen to music because that is just dreadfully boring.
Okay.
So, cool. Hey, I got a crazy idea, Tom. Let's talk about taking on more. I know, crazy. We've been talking all week about taking on more, and today we're talking about the benefits. And I'm going to split it two ways. I want to talk about the benefits to an organization when we take on more, and I'm hoping you'll talk about the benefits to the individual who chooses to take on more. How's that sound?
So I can't talk about organizational benefits.
You
Okay.
can if you want. You
Well,
want to do that?
Sounds like you're setting it up so that
I'm just trying to draw some lines for once.
Okay.
And folks, as you're listening, you might want to think about the benefits you come up with and see if your list matches ours. If it doesn't match ours, feel free to put it in the comments. We'd love to expand our knowledge base. We don't have all the answers. But when we talk about taking on more and the benefits to the individual, I think it's when it gives us an opportunity to expand our skill set. It gives
I
us.
thought you were talking about the organization.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. I got backwards. All right. Forget that. Now we're going to talk about the organization. So this is why I don't like structure.
Fair enough.
Because structure pins you in. So the benefits to the organization are that you get people in new roles, which enables your organization to grow in new directions. And I think one of the things I've seen with a lot of organizations I've worked with and worked in is there's a stagnation. It just becomes everyone's doing the role. You have the weekly meeting, everyone shows up. You know what Tom's going to say, you know what Bob's going to say, you know what Joe's going to say, you know what Steve's going to say, and it gets very boring. When you shuffle the deck a bit, when you give people new opportunities, they start to see things differently. They have different experiences, different perspectives. Even if they're doing a job, if I'm doing the job you do, let's say, Tom, tomorrow we decide, you know what, Bob, you're going to do the technology for the program, and I'm going to do this other stuff. I think what we might find after a couple weeks is organizationally, there are some changes. I might recognize something that you haven't recognized in the technology. Or it might be, Tom, I didn't realize how difficult this was. I thought this was like 5 minutes. Now I see why sometimes it takes you 25 minutes. And I think that's good for an organization because so often we don't know what goes into what other people do. A couple weeks ago, I was working with an organization and I was in the office answering calls and really doing a customer service job that I'd never done with that company. And it was eye-opening to me. It wasn't what I expected. The number of challenges that they faced in a typical day far exceeded what I ever imagined. And I've been told, but going through it. And I think for organizations, when you have people shifting responsibilities and taking on new things, you have an opportunity to learn new things and grow in new directions if you're open to it.
Sure. I think that, the organization also potentially benefits if they are able to reduce staff.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we think that we are giving people enough for a full-time role, and then once they get into it, realize that it's not necessarily the case. And so there's the opportunity for them to take on more, which allows the organization to potentially reduce or not hire the next person that they were thinking or considering of. And allows them to think differently about organizational structure and what is the true. It's a little bit along the lines of what you were saying, is like not only how they do the role, but what the role is as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And is it the organization most effectively designed to achieve what it is they want to achieve? And sometimes you never really know a skill set that somebody has and sometimes they don't even know, which kind of leads into the individual side of things that they like or are good at until they're given the opportunity to actually do them. And I guess as I transition over to the individual, when you take on more, and it's interesting, I think there's a difference between taking on more and taking on different. If you're the person responsible for sales and you had this region or this area or this type of prospects, and then you bring in another region, area, type of prospect, I think that's different than if you take on a different role. Like if you then add in, I'm going to also manage some of the other sales team members. And so, in either sense, or in one sense, if you take on more of what you're currently doing, you likely will find some new things that you had never considered, because that group or that task or whatever it might be is going to be different than the one before, than the one that you're currently working on. And so you might find within taking on a different, let's stick with sales, taking on a different sector, some things that really work well in that sector that you're like, maybe I might want to transition this over and try it in another sector. So you get to sort of test the waters a little differently on, yeah, this works in one area. Could it also work in somewhere else? Take on more. Or you also maybe have to learn, if you take on more, how to be more efficient in what you're doing. So let's say that you're the social media manager and now the organization wants to add TikTok. And you already got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and you're like, okay, how am I going to
you forgot one. LinkedIn Live.
Well,
oh, wait, you weren't giving the list. I'm sorry. I got excited there.
Wasn't giving.
When you start down that road, it's
It's just a reaction that once I start listing social media platforms that you're.
That's right.
What is that? Pavlov's
Yeah,
dog?
Pavlov.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
So, anyhow, so if you were adding one more of those, you have to think about, okay, now I have 3 platforms that I'm trying to, or 4 platforms that I'm trying to manage. How am I going to do this most effectively? Because I have now taken on more, and it might change your routine and the processes that you have used in the past, because they may not be as effective with more.
Mm-hmm.
I think taking on different, which is still could be taking on more, gives you an opportunity to understand whether if this is a new skill set, maybe that you didn't realize that you had, or that you don't have. And you're like, yeah, that I think I maybe don't want to take that on after a while. I want to give that back because it isn't really exactly what I would like to do, or that I think I'm good at. And it's just not only slowing me down, and likely I'm getting stuck more often, which means I can't really be as effective in the things that I'm really good at. And which usually means the organization is going to slow down and not be as effective.
Nice. Wow. We covered a lot of ground in a short time there. And I think there is a difference between taking on different responsibilities and taking on additional responsibilities. However, I've taken on different responsibilities and it's felt like more for the first couple months as you figure it out, because there's that learning curve.
Well, of course. I mean, if while they are different, while there's a difference to them, in both cases, you're likely taking on more.
Mm-hmm.
Taking more of what you're currently doing and adding to that in doing a similar thing. And if you're adding something different, you're still taking on more. They're just I think you're going to gain different things from each of those.
Okay.
So Bob, do you have your one thing?
I'm thinking it through. I think my one thing when we talk about the benefits of taking on more is that it's a double-edged sword for not double-edged sword. Sorry, that's not the right way to say it. It's a benefit to the organization and benefit to the individual. Can be. It can also hurt both of them. But when we talk about the benefits, I think when the organization benefits is when the employee feels more valued and more engaged in what they're doing. And I think that would be the driving reason to me for why if I had employees, I'd say, hey, I think you should take on more and have that discussion. The other thing I was going to say is I think it is a discussion about, hey, how do you feel? Not a directive, hey, Tom, you're going to take on more. We're going to add another platform today. Sorry, that's just the way it's going to be. We're going to do InstaChat or Instagram or whatever. I like InstaChat. I have to build that out.
I think there's something like that. My niece was saying something. There's something where you get a notification every day. It's like Real Chat or something.
Really?
That you have to, within like 2 minutes, have to take a picture of where you are, what you're doing, so that it's more real. It's more, it's not, as most other social medias, people are purposely posting things to give some certain aspect of what they're doing. This is like you in the moment. It's very fascinating. She was talking about it, and I was listening.
I'm intrigued. I may have to go out there and look at that and see about that. Lots of selfies, I guess, in that, right?
Well, I guess, or you're just taking of your surroundings. Here's where I am, which could be like in the bathroom. It could be taking out the trash. It could, not the glamorous things that people usually post. This is like the real life.
The amazing vacation photos we're seeing all over now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Fair enough.
Fair enough. All right. What's your one thing?
So my one thing, I think when I think about the benefits of taking on more is that it impacts what's real for you. And because it changes your knowledge, experience, and perspective. And I think ultimately that gives us a chance to learn, which to me is kind of what this is all about, is that how do we go through life and not just keep the same what's real, is that we're allowed to be impacted by all the different things that we do. And when we take on more or different, we have an opportunity to learn and see it as a learning opportunity, not as a punishment, not as oh, you're doing an amazing job, whatever. Because I think both of those reactions usually just get you frustrated and stuck. Not frustrated if you're getting the celebration, stuck maybe because you're like, oh yeah, you're doing an amazing job, we're going to give you more, and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm the greatest. And I think that just leads to missing opportunities to learn. And so I think the benefits of any time we take on anything new or more, it gives us an opportunity to learn. And I think ultimately that's the greatest benefit that it provides.
I like that. Wow. Learning. Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah. Sometimes we talk about that a little bit. What's real?
Oh yeah, we do. Hey, by the way, we both have gray shirts on. Must
Nice.
Be Gray Shirt
Blue.
Wednesday. Is that blue?
It's blue.
Oh, it looks gray to me.
It looks like the same color as yours.
Okay, fair enough.
You might want to
I withdraw my comment.
You may want to check your color,
Wheel?
or maybe you're colorblind. Maybe that's part of the challenge that we've not been identified.
So many.
Well, there is what it is. All right, everyone. If you have one thing you'd like to share, we'd love to see your thoughts and ideas around the benefits of taking on more. So please feel free to share it. If you happen to be listening to our podcast, we know that there's no place to comment or to share any thought or idea. So we would encourage you to go over to our Ringer Renegades Facebook group, and you can share it there, where others, 1,200 strong, are trying to figure out their next step. They're renegades, trying to figure out how they take their next step along their own unique pathway to success. And you may have exactly what they are looking for, or you may be searching for that, and your comment spurs other comments that provide exactly what you were looking for. So we hope that you will go over, and if you're not already, join our Ringer Renegades Facebook group. It's easy to do. Just ask to join and tell us why you're a renegade, and then you can become a part of the conversation and the community. So we look forward to seeing you inside our Ringer Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time, for our next episode of Today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, embrace the renegading you today. It's worth it. I keep saying it. I see it every day in myself. I see it in Tom. It could be the same for you.
Excellent. And you know what? If you got a favorite song that you like to work out to, please share that as well.
Yeah, love to see it.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Go out and make it a great day. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.